Well, joining us now to discuss the lasting impact of President Reagan's legacy are Tevi Troy, co-author of this week's National Review cover piece about President Reagan, and Ron Nehring, chair of the California GOP. Welcome to you both, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Tevi, I thought it was interesting in your article. You pointed out that everybody is always trying to find and guess who's going to be the next Ronald Reagan. I mean, is that a question we should be asking?
Well, there can be no next Reagan. I mean, he was unique. He was a special guy. He had unbelievable communication skills, but also strong principles. And I think we're looking for a Republican leader who has those qualities, but they can never actually be Reagan.
All right, Ron, you obviously spent a lot of time in California, where you head up the GOP there. It's where President Reagan initially started his public service, serving as the governor there. How much of an impact do you think he's still having on the way that the GOP operates today?
Well, I think he had a tremendous impact in two ways primarily. Number one, at the time he became governor, the conservative wing of the Republican Party had largely been marginalized, and he made it mainstream again to be not only a Republican, but a conservative Republican who believed in limited government, a strong national defense, and aggressive foreign policy where we were strongly defending our allies. And he also provided a great model for leadership. He clearly articulated a very compelling vision. He had the strength to turn that vision into reality. He epitomized honesty, credibility. He had those traits necessary to turn that vision into reality. So that he had that combination of making conservative mainstream again and also great leadership qualities that every successful candidate wants to emulate.
And Tevi, how do you think that today's GOP could take lessons from that, from what he acted out in his personal life and his professional life, his political life as well? How do you think they could take some lessons to work to their advantage on the way that he operated when he was in the White House?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that the conservative movement was marginalized before him. It didn't really exist the way it does today. I mean, and Reagan was able to bring different strands of conservatism together. And there was this movement called fusionism, where you take the anti-communist people who were both libertarian and traditionalist and brought them together. And I think a new leader in the mold of Reagan could bring together the different strands of conservatism about the things about which we agree. Low taxes, strong defense, support for Israel is another thing that a lot of unites conservatives, and support and optimism about America.
Mm-hmm. And Ron, when we talk about those different factions and bringing together different viewpoints under the same umbrella as President Reagan did so successfully, you think about the Tea Party and, all of this hype about whether or not it's breaking up the GOP. Do you think there's somebody out there who's doing a good job or could, in the future, bringing together the different factions to unite the GOP?
Yeah, I don't think we suffer from any shortage of good quality candidates who'll be able to do that. I think what will be essential is how they articulate a compelling vision for the country, a compelling, optimistic vision for the future that everyone can tap into, so that everyone finds that not only are they at home in the Republican Party, but those various groups are comfortable with that candidate and their leadership and the ability to turn that vision into reality. I think that that's where Reagan will serve as a great model for people in terms of providing that optimistic, forward-looking vision that will bring all these various groups together. I don't think there's a great amount of division. I think you have different groups within the party with different priorities because there are different issues that bring people to politics, but I think we have some candidates out there who will be able to bring them together quite well.
Well, Tevi, earlier today we had Ken Duberstein, a former chief of staff for President Reagan, on, and he said that he was always about making sure he was serving the people. He communicated to them. It wasn't about appeasing special groups or the people on Capitol Hill. Do you think that there's a way to develop that kind of communication skill where the people really feel like you're talking to them, that you're on their side in today's day and age, because things have gotten so partisan and so difficult sometimes to communicate directly to the American people? They have so much skepticism about today's politicians.
Well, first of all, Reagan did have great communication skills. He spent his career as an actor and as a broadcaster, and he knew how to speak to people and how to appeal broadly, not just to these narrow groups that you're referring to. But the second thing is he had principles that people could believe in, and you knew he was sincere about them. And then third, I think that optimism that both Ron and I have already mentioned is sort of a special elixir, a special mix that helped bring Reagan's popularity broadly beyond just the Republican Party, beyond just the conservative movement, but the whole nation could embrace it.
Yeah, and optimism is something a lot of folks feel like we need more of today. All right, Tevi and Ron, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.